Welcome, YouTubers. This is our quick review of Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. This story, Crisis Core, takes place before Final Fantasy VII. Now, this game came out on the PSP years ago, and although I actually was given a PSP with a copy of this game to play, I actually spent more time kind of watching cutscenes of it on YouTube and following the story on YouTube. It was just a nice experience. I knew the soundtrack very well, but I'd never actually played the game from start to finish, so when I heard this game was announced, I was quite kind of stoked about it, and I'm super glad we played this game. In terms of how good this remake is, because again, this is a remaster of the PSP version of a game that came out many moons ago, and from what I understand, the game does a pretty good job. I enjoyed playing as Zack. He's very quirky. A lot of people don't get on too well with Zack because of how kind of wild and fun-loving he is. He's very obviously an obvious contrast to the stoic character of Cloud Strife, who is our main protagonist from FF7, but I did like playing as Zack. I thought he was pretty cool. I love his goofy nature. There's a lot of cheese at times with Zack, and also with the plot of this game. Some of the lines and stuff are very early 2000s cheese, but it's, if you're expecting it, you'll love it, and if you're a brand new person coming in, you'll be like, what are all these characters smoking? If you don't take it too seriously, you take it kind of lightly, it can be a good time for sure. The graphics of this game are not kind of top tier, but they do a pretty good job of taking what I assume is, in a lot of instances, is the the PSP footage and upscaling it, or in some cases entirely redoing it. It's not the best that Square Enix has ever produced, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good, and if you're coming into it having not played some of the other Final Fantasy games, you might even think this game looks great at times. So yeah, it looks good enough, and in terms of delivering the story to you, all of the cutscenes and all that stuff really hold up quite well. Particularly, my favourite part of the whole game, pretty much, other than the ending, of course, is the cutscene with Genesis fighting Angeal and Sephiroth on top of the Junin cannon, which apparently was a cutscene from back in the day. It looks incredible. Like, the synchronicity of the music with that montage cutscene is insane. Regardless, there's not a lot to say about this game other than that if you're a fan of the original Crisis Core, I think this game will do justice to the OG. If you've never played the OG though, you might be a little bit more hesitant. This game has a mountain of side questing which you can choose to do as a player or completely ignore. Now, the side questing is not necessarily running around the world and talking to people. It's literally a menu system where you go and do missions that will give you rewards, and a lot of the missions are set in standard randomized areas with randomized item chests fighting millions and millions of the same enemies. If that's going to be a problem for you, again, you don't have to do these missions. We did 30% on the nose, so we did 30% of the total side missions. We collected most of the chests from those, and we fought a metric fuck ton of enemies. So I felt like we spent a lot of time grinding in this game. If you guys are going to go past that, if you're an achievement hunter, or if you're trying to get all of the 100% completed of the side missions, it's going to take you a while, and a lot of it is very monotonous. If you enjoy that, you're going to love it. If not, just be warned. In terms of the combat of this game, I felt like it felt great. I had a lot of fun combining all the materia and creating new magic spells. There is a very similar system to Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, if any of you guys have ever played that particular game. In that specific Kingdom Hearts game, you can do a lot of magic fusion where you take spells and you craft them together and you constantly fuse them over and over. The higher you level them up before you fuse them makes your future spells more powerful, and it kind of creates this constant building of power, which feels really good when you get to the late game. That was pretty cool, and that's definitely one of the things I love the most about this one. Soundtrack is my second favourite thing. Crisis Core's soundtrack in general is insane. Reunion just takes the same soundtrack and basically just gives you it just as it was, and in some cases touched up, I believe. But Nobuo Uematsu is on the score for this, and it's just incredible. It's just insane. I love it so much. I'm very biased and it shows, I know, but you guys should check it out for sure. The only downside I might have with Crisis Core is, again, the enemy spawns, not just when you're doing the side quest, but when you're out in the world and traveling through some of the missions, the kind of random spawning of enemies got a bit much, even for me as someone who loves this game and was playing it on stream. When you're grinding, the respawn rate is nice, but see, when you're not grinding and you're just trying to explore an area, when you're back traveling through an area trying to find the chests, it's pretty hectic, and the kind of mechanic that is pulled directly from the PSP era, it shows its age a little bit. A game that was obviously full of just grind in the olden days might not be as well received by a modern audience, and so you just have to keep that in mind, guys, for sure. Just to wrap this up, because there's not much to say, this is a fantastic remaster of the OG. If you love Crisis Core the OG, you'll probably like this game. If you love Final Fantasy VII and you're looking for a bit more explanation and understanding of how the characters get to the beginning of FF7, then this is definitely worth checking out. I don't think it's too expensive, and it'll only get cheaper in the upcoming years, I would assume. So Crisis Core, loved it. The ending had me totally nostalgic, but I don't want to talk about that too much in case you have or have not played it. If you have finished it and want to talk to me about it, make sure you do so in the Let's Play episodes in the comments. I love talking to people about this particular story, the narrative, the characters, and what happens at the end. Of course, it's beautiful. So we'll see how it connects together in the remake part 2 when it comes out, which should be in the next year or so. So thanks for watching the review, guys. I hope you enjoyed Crisis Core. We certainly did, and amongst all of its craziness, definitely worth your time if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.